Oh yeah, yeah. So apparently, I guess we can touch on this real quick. This first little thing I wanted to touch on. So what they said happened. Glenn Schofield, the game's director, he came out and he was basically like, yeah, so all the stuttering that's going on was apparently an incorrect file that was patched. He said somebody was rushing and made us stupid. So what he said was, quote, a wrong file was patched, just a freaking error by someone rushing. He also referred to it as a clerical error and stated that it's launch day. This happens, unfortunately. Ooh. If that's true, that's a big oopsie. I mean, that's kind of hilarious if we're being completely honest, because like it's your biggest game release, probably of your career. It's your big comeback and all this. And then on launch day, there's an oopsie. Now, you guys remember I told you on the stream on launch day, there were 2 patches that went up the day before it launched, technically, before the major worldwide release. So at 3 p.m., I'm going to just say my times because it's easier for me to remember. So the game was set to launch at 10 p.m. my time. At 3 p.m., so 7 hours before launch, there was like a 14 gigabyte patch. Nothing big, nothing crazy, but a 14 gig patch. I got that, I downloaded it, and I thought the game actually ran better. It still stuttered occasionally, but it was a lot better. And so I was like, okay, so that's cool. And then I finished the game, I started writing everything out. And then at 6 p.m., 4 hours before, but only 3 hours later, there was another patch, but this one was 65 gigs. It was basically a re-download of the entire game, which is weird. And also, the total game size before that 6 p.m. save was over 85 gigs. I think it was 88 gigs. After that 6 p.m. patch, it dropped to 60, I think it's 68 gigs. So somehow 20 gigabytes of data just disappeared. Now, maybe it was just that they had better compression. Maybe there was something like that. Or maybe all the shaders that they had cached were no longer included in the download. And that's why the download was smaller. I don't actually know. But I did find it very strange that there were 2 patches, one hefty and one just a re-download of the entire game. I thought that was very, very strange on launch day, or technically the day before launch day, depending on where you are, but like hours before launch for that to happen. So I would actually believe that something like this could have happened, that there was a stupid mistake where somebody sent out an update that wasn't supposed to be sent out, or something. I mean, it sounds crazy that for a multi-million-dollar game, you accidentally check a box and that causes all of this trouble. But I mean, can you imagine if this is true? The one guy who did that, and he basically is responsible for the PC port having like a 5 out of 10 instead of an 8 out of 10. Like, that's pretty pathetic. And I mean, I don't know if you can get fired for that kind of thing. I mean, the game's already out, but that's a big oopsie if that's true. Like, that is a big oopsie. I would honestly think if they had just come out and said, listen, we're having some shader compilation errors in this latest build that we finished out. We're just going to compile all the shaders. We're going to release the PC version 24 hours later, 12 hours later, whatever. I think people would have understood that. But the issue with a lot of this is there was already a lot of shady crap going on with not allowing like reviews or previews to go up early, because it really seems like they knew that either the reviews weren't going to be good and or that the PC port was going to be reviewed as garbage. So they pushed reviews back until after the game came out, which at that point, like, to me, it just seems indicative that you knew what you were doing and you were trying to kind of slide it past people. Carrick was saying that he's reviewed a bunch of games that have same day releases, and he didn't think that there were direct correlations between same day review embargoes and the quality of the games, which I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of examples of same day embargoes that the games ended up being really, really good. But what I know is that it stinks and is really fishy when reviewers across the board have a ton of trouble getting review codes. And then they're told, okay, here's the review code. You have like a day and a half to play through this whole game. And the review lifts on release date. That's strange. And I mean, I think even Carrick had the same thing, because he didn't end up posting a review, I don't think. Probably because he got the review code late and he thought it was suspicious. I think he also tried it and he said it was so buggy that he just decided not to review it, which is pretty bad. That's a pretty big oopsie. He took my thing.